I wanted, and now I could, I don't have to go out and get high, go get a beer or whatever, I could face it, I don't have to, say, oh, well, forget it, and let's just go get drunk or let's go get high, It don't fix anything. I noticed that, I thought it did, but it don't, and then all that stuff that I had, all that misery that I had, it came out, and I felt really, I felt good. I mean, I didn't know I was that miserable, but I was pretty miserable.
Let's go right here where the flowers are. Right here, right here. Okay. 9, 6, not 5, but 7. Soft as a flower, hard as a rock.
I think when you see something, a group like this, getting the results that it seems to be getting, and I understand it's still early and we're still waiting on the results. But what I saw, the immediate result was less behavior problems. Well, that's enough for me.
A lot of the recovery efforts that these women have made in the past have been very sincere efforts, and sometimes with the thought that if I just try hard enough, it will happen. If I listen to the experts closely enough and do everything that they say, then I won't feel these cravings anymore. I won't get swept up in this lifestyle anymore. I won't make these dumb decisions anymore. And if it were just a matter of effort and desire, they would all be better, Because it only takes a few times to jail, one time to lose your children, a few times to get beaten up by a John or something of that nature, to know that that's not what you want, and to begin trying. So it wasn't that these women hadn't made efforts, and it was that they didn't have a way. And Vipassana gave them a way. It gave them a tool. It gave them a choice. Now, I'm not for a minute saying that they will always make the right choice from now on, but they have a choice now, and they didn't have one before.
What I got out of this course, though, was how to deal without reacting. Because I was a person who just reacted off any little thing set me off. And another good thing I'd learned about that I'm taking out of here is craving. Craving, good or bad. And just the tools I got out of the course is just going to stick with me for the rest of my life now. And I'm glad I did it.
So it's interesting to hear, how the women responded to the course in different ways. And if you're interested, there's an hour-long version of this documentary where you can hear what the men were saying. So you can send us an email and let you know how to get a hold of it. Now, since this program came out and we published the results, more prisons have been starting to do meditation courses. There's a prison Dharma network that's basically offering courses. There's another documentary movie by Nasina called Letters from the Dhamma Brothers. This is a maximum security prison in Alabama, and they're doing the 10-day course there. And many of the people that are taking it are either on death row or they're going to be in there for life. And so even they are saying, and there's a book by the same title, Letters from the Dhamma Brothers, that it really made a huge difference. And one guy said, I'm still going to have to spend the rest of my life behind bars, but my mind is no longer behind bars. This kind of thing. So I think we'll start to see more, hopefully, meditation programs for people who are incarcerated, at least give them that option. Okay, just going to wind up with the last 20 minutes talking about the mindfulness-based relapse prevention. I think the 10-day Vipassana courses are very effective. Has anybody here done one? Yeah. So, of course, it's pretty intense. I mean, the first time I did one, which was in the early 80s with Goenka, you know, after about 2.5 days, I thought, I gotta get out of here. Can't stand it. Can't. No email, you know, no voicemail, no nothing, no news. No. But so I went up to the instructor halfway through and I said, "This is really pretty bad. I feel like I'm in a concentration camp." She said, "You are in a concentration camp." But by the time I finished the whole 10 days, it felt really amazing experience. But it was, you know, it's tough. So basically, how can we teach mindfulness in a more group-based treatment program is why we put together the mindfulness-based relapse prevention. So this program, actually our book is coming out November 2nd with the same title. So if you're interested, I'm going to give you an overview of what's in the course. The manual will have all the details if you're interested. So these are the different people that are working with me on this, and we've been funded by NIDA, the National Institute of Drug Abuse. They give us one trial that we've completed, and we're in the middle of another one now with a longer follow-up. And we're also looking at neurological, psychophysiological reactions to meditation as well as behavioral and cognitive skills. So we're basically patterning our course after these other kinds of programs. So we talked about John Kabat-Zinn's mindfulness-based stress reduction, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy for depression. And of course, most people are familiar with Marsha Linehan's dialectical behavioral therapy. She uses mindfulness as part of her coping strategies. She calls it wise mind. And then we have Steve Hayes of acceptance and commitment therapy. He also does mindfulness from a radical behavioral perspective. And Bob Kohlenberg, who's also in our Department of Functional Analytics Psychotherapy, teaching therapists mindfulness skills so they can be very mindful in their work with clients, and they're getting good results. So, and then of course there's a lot of work on what's happening in the brain and the neurophysiology of meditation. So after I'm finished here in Tucson, I'm going to Madison, Wisconsin, where Richard Davidson, professor of psychology, is giving a conference on the neuropsychology of meditation and mindfulness. So there'll be a lot of new findings there that I'm looking forward to hearing about. So ours basically integrates mindfulness with traditional relapse prevention skills. Ours is, like the other programs, 8 weekly 2-hour sessions. We have 2 therapists, a therapist and a co-therapist, run the groups. The groups, we're basically co-ed, so men and women are together. And there's anywhere from 8 to 12 clients per group. And we basically include in the course formal mindfulness practice, I'll tell you about that, informal practice, and coping strategies for what to do when you're in the middle of a difficult, high-risk situation. So the goals are to increase awareness of triggers, interrupting habitual reactive behaviors, shifting more from the automatic pilot to more mindful observation, having that stimulus response, the space and the choice that you might have. Increasing tolerance of discomfort, thereby decreasing the need to alleviate with substance use or self-medication. And of course, most importantly, acceptance of what's going on in the present moment rather than trying to figure out what your next fix is going to come from. So people with addiction problems always have this future kind of orientation, where am I going to get my next high from? So how to get back into the here